Hey guys, what's going on? I'm just riding out into town today. I feel a little bit under the weather, but I'm just talking to one of my buddies on Messenger, and he was talking about strap pulling. So yeah, let's talk about it. Pulling in the straps needs to be done every practice. Every time you grip up with somebody to practice, you need to strap your hands together. And the reason I say that is because we're going here, and you're in my steering wheel, so this is going to be kind of funny. But yeah, so anyways, it's kind of cool actually. Start making videos like this all the time. Oh, and I'm back right side up. Look at that. No, hey. But anyways, you know, when you're outside of the straps, you know, you have the ability to, you know, you can slide up in somebody's hand like this, you know, like this type of stuff. You can slide out into their fingers, you know, even if they're closed, you can do this number here, like that, you know, or vice versa. You slide out into yours, or you can create space, you know, through jamming your thumb sideways. You know, if you're trying to hook, you may want to, you know, get your hands close like this. But if you're trying to top roll, especially outside of straps, you're going to have all this space here. You know, you're going to want space in the palms like this. You know, that way, because that way as soon as they say go, you fill the space. But see, if you get a good tight strap, see what that's going to do is it's going to basically mash your hands together, and there's really no movement, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of what happens, you know, if somebody takes you over, you know, you're still pretty much in the same position. Don't get me wrong, there's still advantages and ways to loosen and tighten the strap when you're pulling, 100%. And you'll learn those. But I hear a lot of things about people asking questions about strap pulling, and they're like, well, how do I know, do you know any tricks to pull in the straps? Do you have any, we're about to do another Toppy Thursday. Here we go. That shit's so crazy. Oh man, maybe make a cool video, who knows. But hey, so, you know, people are like, what are some tricks? What's some hustles I can do in the strap? You know, the hustle strap and all that. And it was told to me, and I didn't understand it at the time, but just pull in the straps. And that's what you need to do, man. You just need to pull in the straps, pull in the straps, pull in the straps. And what you'll learn is, well, first of all, when you are arm wrestling in the straps, it develops certain muscles that, in my opinion, there's no other way to get without pulling in the straps. You know, just the way it has an anchor point here and it has an anchor point here, you know. And there are ways to sort of train it, especially back pressure. If you're gonna have two connections, one right here in this part of the hand where the strap comes across, and then the other one is going to be the strap on the wrist here. And, you know, just coming backwards like this, knuckles high, is a good way to keep your, you know, riser from dumping, and also to learn how to find, you know, the lower, this is to find the lower connection in the straps. And that's one of the most important things too. When the strap's being applied, it's important to, you know, make sure you can feel the connection. You know, whenever you're loading, or whenever you're back pressuring, or, you know, before the match even begins, and you're, you know, and you're maybe, you know, yours and theirs webbing's open like this type of thing, you know, and the thumbs are closed. You know, you should be right, you know, rising up till you find the strap, you know, and then close your hand on it, and then that way, as soon as you go backwards or any movement at all, your opponent can feel it. Also, you'll learn a lot of things about what you need, whether you're a hook puller or whether you're a top roll guy. In the straps, you're going to learn, you know, exactly what it is you need for the move you're trying to accomplish. Another Toppy Thursday. Woo! Thing looks crazy. Hey, what can I say? Oh yeah. That thing's so funny. Anyways, I'm here at the barbershop. Pretty cool. But strap pulling, what you learn is you learn what you need. You'll also learn whether or not you want the strap tight or the strap loose. And then it creates certain muscles and certain certain things, I believe the only way to strengthen those is by doing it. So, straps. They also, I've noticed something else, that a lot of times, somebody who's got a really strong hand or really big hand, versus somebody with a smaller hand, the straps negate that. Okay, the straps negate the large hand from being able to swallow up the big hand and then just overpower it, because they're tied together, kind of palm to palm, and so it's more of who's stronger. But pulling in the straps is important. They say the straps don't lie. I agree with that to a certain extent, because it basically comes down to who's the stronger man. And straps, when it comes to straps, a couple techniques I'll say is one of the most important strengths to have when pulling in the straps is just your ability to just rotate on top. Like if you're here and then you close your hands, you don't want to like back pressure yourself and get pulled under like this. That's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen people make in the straps, is that they back pressure so hard and they pull back or even sideways so hard that they're losing their own hand, that they're literally just like, and they lose their hand. If you'll just slow down a little bit and then just try to get just a little bit of rotation, then you'll have so much easier time winning matches. But a lot of times when people fire backwards, they fire so hard into the side that their hand gets sucked under. And from that point, there's really no winning unless you just have superior arm strength, because the leverage advantage totally goes to the guy. When you're like this, the guy's just like this, and you just don't really have, the side pressure or the leverage to be able to open up his angle when you're like that, especially if he pulls back and goes his way a little bit and you're kind of out here like this with your hand sucked under. You might as well just let it go. But multi-spinner high, where it's wrapped, don't do the multi-spinner. There's a couple different ways to do it. Look at me, crazy. So let's pretend like this is a multi-spinner. Of course, I wrapped it the wrong way. Check the lid. Okay, this is a multi-spinner. This is a multi-spinner. Okay. So now, let's see, multi-spinner. See that? Got it coming up from up high, pulling it back to me like this. Okay, but here's what I want you to notice. This is going to work containment, and it's basically depending on my squeeziness of my fingers and how strong my fingers pressure is. And so that happens. And so what we're talking about is see, it's using my hand to clamp down, but if I actually wrap the multi-spinner around my hand like this, well, now it's kind of tied on to this now. And so whenever you're pulling it straight like this, now I don't have to hold on as much. I can kind of do it with my hand open. And that's kind of like what it is about in the straps. In the straps, you honestly should be able to pull with just your hand open. You should be able to just go and do everything you're going to do without really, your fingers will make a difference, but for the most part, the strap is holding you together. So as long as you've got superior rotation and everything and you're pulling back, that's what's important. Another thing, strap pulling. It's going to be really, really drag based. I've noticed that, when you're strap pulling, the ability to drag the match over to your side is going to greatly help you be able to win. And so your back pressure is going to be important. Something else I want you to notice is that, if you're always just working your back pressure, but you don't ever have anything like tied onto your hand, then you're actually stopping your back from being able to grow like it should, because I feel like if you're rowing and doing these different things, that the failure point is going to be in your fingers. And honestly, when you're in the straps, basically it's the difference of, have you ever seen somebody deadlift? Okay, they reach down and they pick up the bar. Well, you'll notice that whenever they reach like, it's different for everybody, but it's somewhere around the 500 to 600 pound range. For some guys, it's even fucking higher, and that is before they put the straps on. What they do is they'll run a strap around their wrist, and then the strap runs up in their hand, and then whenever they grab onto the bar, they're actually going to wrap that strap around the bar one complete revolution, and then squeeze it down with their hand as it's anchored to their wrist. And so whenever they go to do these deadlifts, it's not, I mean, in all honesty, if you didn't have these straps, I don't think anybody would be deadlifting 1,000 pounds. No way. No way. Because the bar would just slip out of their hands, and rightfully so. It's 1,000 pounds. So what they do is they put on the straps, and it actually straps the bar to your wrist. And that's something I would, they also have those wrist wrenches, you know, that you stick your hand through, and Todzilla and everybody says, don't stick your hand through them. Well, I agree with that in a certain extent. When you're doing most of your training and most of your fingers, you don't want to stick your hand through it. But when you can stick your hand through something and then just turn your fingers over, and now I can pull with everything I got, and my fingers are not going to cause me to fail. So if you want to train for pulling in the straps, do it by literally connecting your hand to something that your fingers don't have to hold on to. So figure out a way to get a connection to where it pretty much straps onto your hand and you can just really pull back. So those are some quick little advice I have about strap pulling, and that is, you know, when you're in the straps, it doesn't matter how weak my hand is. If my hand goes back, we're not coming apart. And so that's the same thing I would say, you know, don't be scared to train with your wrist back. You know, I wouldn't, you know, a lot of people I hear they say, I will not train, you know, with my wrist any further back than this, because I don't want my wrist going back. And it's like, I understand that, you don't want your wrist going back, but at the same time, what are you going to do if somebody takes your hand? Oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. Lose. I mean, I get it. That's fine. I mean, and if you don't want to train that way, you don't have to. But my thoughts are, I want to be ready for every scenario, because everybody's stronger in different lanes. Everybody has different skills. They have different arm heights. They have different hand sizes. They have different weight. They're different sizes, just people. And so because of that, I want to be ready for all these different scenarios. So if somebody happens to take my hand in an arm wrestling match, I don't want that to be the end of the day. You know, I don't give my hand up. I don't do a flop wrist press. But, you know, if I feel in straps, my hand's starting ready to get took, I want to come forward with my shoulder, you know, have good mechanics, but then still be able to drive sideways. Because one of the strongest connections, believe it or not, is in the straps with your hand back. Because it's all the stress is now removed from your hand, and it's directly in the bottom of the bottom of your wrist here. And so when you start driving down, it literally, first of all, if my hand's back, my opponent's is like this. And so how many people do you know that train their top roll like this? I mean, a lot of them train it like this, but how many of them train it like this? None of them. So if you get like this and start driving sideways, it does put a ton of pressure on your brachial brachialis, or whatever. I'm not even going to attempt that one again. But what I'm saying is, be ready for it. Be ready for all angles. I train my back pressure like this. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I train my flop like this, you know, just because I want to be strong in all areas. Because I've heard it said that wherever you're weak or wherever you don't train, that's where you're more likely to get injured. But anyways, guys, appreciate it. The short little video on strap pulling. Pull in the straps. Pull in the straps. And the reason that is because, just like Travis Bajan has said in the past, if somebody wants to get to the straps and they're anywhere close to your strength level, they will probably be able to do so. You know, if you just come and, you know, just spin out like this. Show your opponent. Start here, fire backwards as hard as you can, and show your opponent your hand and bend your wrist. Like this. The Cobra. Poof. Ain't nobody holding on to that. And if they do, and they still pin you, then you might not be able to beat them in straps either. So just keep that in mind. Appreciate it, guys.